Hello again, and welcome back to these sessions on experiencing meditation. And in the last session, we had mentioned a beautiful quote from Rumi, which I just want to remind and bring up again, because it is so illustrative for what we need, what the world actually needs, and what spirituality is all about. And this quote says, yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I want to change myself. And this is such a, it appears very simple. And of course, if we have that attention, it can be, but it is such a deep truth. We can actually only truly change ourselves. And through our example, through our change, through our benevolence, through our integrity and dignity and respect and clean love, we may inspire others to change or to explore their own inner world. But I am part of the world, so if I change myself, I am changing the world. And so this is a beautiful journey. Let us embark on it and use ourselves as material because we all have areas, flaws in our character. How can we want others not to be angry if we ourselves haven't found the clue to get rid of our own anger? How can we want others not to be arrogant or selfish or greedy if we ourselves haven't got a clue about our own true innate potential for goodness? And let us be the change, let us be the example that we want for the world. This is a famous quote from Gandhi. So, in today's session, we are going to zoom in a little bit on this area of how do we relate to each other? What would be a spiritual mindset when we interact with each other? How can we bring the quality of our relationships to a different level? And we will go over to the board to use the sketches to help us visualize and grasp that a bit more. So the question is, do we relate to each other through the eyes of spiritual wisdom? Do we relate to each other understanding ourselves as souls, as beings of consciousness, as beings who are innately free and immortal? Or do we relate to each other through the lens of ego? Do we relate to each other through the lens of these false, limited, temporary identities? And that is where problems start. And in this image, that you must all be very familiar with now, we have tried to make it more visual. Normally, we look and think of ourselves in ordinary consciousness. We think of ourselves as a bodily being. I am a male or I am a female. I am black or white. I belong to this social class or that social class. I belong to this nationality or to this ethnical background. I have these possessions, I have this position, I have these people around me. That is how we think of ourselves. And that is also how we look at others. How I look at myself, that is how I will also judge or value others. If I, for example, feel that I am important because I have a big posh car and that I should be given praise and respect because of my possessions and positions, I will look at others also. What car are they driving? And in my mind, if their car is small and not of the more expensive class, I will feel their value is less. If I think of myself that I am so and so because I have this education, I will judge others and I will value or devalue them based upon their education, upon their position, or upon their possession. If I feel I am a man and I am Dr. so and so, then others who are not in that category, I will think they are less. Or others who have more money than me or a bigger position, I will look up to them. I will worship them or adore them, or at least I will look up and I will feel less. And others who are less, I will feel they are less. Their value is less and I am more. So this is ego-based functioning. And much of this is not necessarily conscious. We are kind of programmed from our childhood to think of ourselves in this way through the lens of all these limited, false identities, temporary identities that are based on temporary things, identities that are based on the body or appearance. And we are also almost as if programmed to interact, to treat others based on that same dynamic. You are important because of this and this and this. And if you don't have this and this and this, you are unimportant. You are beautiful because of a certain physical appearance. And if you don't match that, you are ugly. So we put each other in boxes based on external characteristics, on limited things. And on top of that, many of those things can change anytime, just like that. We can lose things, we can lose people, laws in the country change, everything finishes. Even our body can change at any moment. Things can happen. So if we interact with each other based upon this ego perspective, looking through the lens of these limited false identities, we will always be in some push or pull. We will have desires or expectation, we have inferiority complex or superiority complex, and it doesn't need much imagination to know what comes out of that. We put each other in boxes and in categories, and we give value or respect based upon that. And all of that leads to lots of conflicts, frictions in relationship, frictions within the family, friction between families, friction within the community, between communities, within countries, between countries. It is an endless spiral downwards. Spirituality says, All of this is just a temporary part that we play out. Don't identify with that, because that is not the real you. The real you is the spiritual being, the being of consciousness, the soul. And the soul is bodiless, adopts a body for a short period of time to play out the part. But you, the being of consciousness, existed before the body took shape, and you will continue to exist after the body perishes. We are spiritual beings, innately peaceful, innately secure, timeless, immortal beings, beings with divine potential, with angelic potential, beings of contentment, beings of love, beings of wisdom. This is our innate true nature. And if we begin to realize that deeply for ourselves, we begin to see others also as spiritual beings with higher potential. And we will interact with each other based on that understanding that you are my spiritual sibling. We are both souls. We belong to that same family of spiritual beings, and we have come here in this physical world to play out different parts, but behind, we are family. One big spiritual family. Siblings. Beings who are innately good. Beings who are innately wise. Beings who are innately harmonious. And if I begin to look at others with that vision, I myself will feel better. I will feel all are my family. In bodies with different genders, different colors, but behind there is my sibling. Behind there is a soul. We have come from that same dimension beyond. We belong to that same family, beings of peace. And so we can interact with each other with that vision of greatness, with that vision of brotherhood or sisterhood. It is beyond gender, that soul-conscious vision, instead of that body-conscious vision, that ego vision of how you look, what is the color of your skin, what is your religion, what is your social status, how much money you own, what big car you have or not have, where you live or not live. We create all kinds of limitations, and we ourselves suffer. We are not experiencing the higher, more valuable feelings and emotions within ourselves. And we can also not express that. And we see others, we meet others, and we immediately begin to label. You are this, you are this, you are not that, you are not me. We are not together. There is not a feeling of bond and family. Sometimes I am so amazed. I live in New York City, Manhattan. There are 11 million people there. And there are people who are intensely lonely. How come we're so many together and still we feel not connected, not accompanied? We feel alone because we've put ourselves and everybody else in boxes. You are this, them, and this is me. Theirs and this is mine. They are different, not ours. In spiritual consciousness, we can come to this sincere feeling of connectedness, of family, a world family. as we allow ourselves to create a certain clarity and expand our awareness, aiming to see the big picture in our minds, aiming to see the physical, visible dimension, but also to know that there is this invisible dimension, and that we ourselves are actually invisible. Invisible observers, invisible players, like tiny points of conscious energy. Like this image behind me, like a tiny point of living light. Sometimes these visuals help to get it clear and to help in the concentration. And just try not to close your eyes, but to keep them open. And just rest your glance on this image of the point of light, or on some space somewhere in front. Just rest your glance. Aim is to be a master of your sense organs also, to be able to see, but not your mind being pulled by what you see. To be able to hear, but mind is not pulled by what is heard. Not all kinds of thoughts coming in. Just tiny dot, tiny star of living light. The invisible soul, the observer, is just silently observing the body and this whole physical world. And there is a deeper understanding that everyone else is also a silent, invisible observer, using the body as a costume to play out a part. But all are invisible spiritual beings, timeless, immortal, eternal, innately benevolent, innately peaceful. And the soul is genderless, without color of skin, beyond human cultures, beyond human religions. We are all souls, one family, free, playful, innately peaceful, loving and lovely spiritual beings. All we need is to wake up to this eternal and invisible reality, to hold that and allow these feelings of family with the whole of humanity to emerge. Regardless of gender, regardless of race, regardless of religion, regardless of education, regardless of position and possession. Behind there are souls, my family. Reflect on this and allow these feelings to grow within.